The highway stretched endlessly beneath the scorching Texas sun, gleaming like a silver ribbon winding across the barren land. U.S. Army Brigadier General Sarah Williams drove her sleek black SUV with determined power. No escort, no flashing lights, just her and the silent thoughts of the top-secret mission awaiting her at Barksdale Air Force Base. Suddenly, the secure phone in her jacket pocket vibrated and went dead. Sarah frowned, scanned her surroundings, and saw only an aging roadside gas station with a faded sign. With no other choice, she decided to stop, hoping to catch a signal and complete the crucial call. Stepping out, Sarah pulled down her baseball cap, shrugged on a navy windbreaker, and strode into the station's forecourt. Outside, a few men leaned against pickup trucks, their wary eyes tracking her every move. Sarah remained calm, raised the phone to her ear, and began the call. Brigadier General Sarah Williams, identity verification, requesting secure connection. The voice on the line relayed highly classified details. Sarah listened intently, her sharp eyes still sweeping the scene. Unbeknownst to her, a cold gaze watched from inside the station's glass door, ready to spark an unimaginable misunderstanding. Behind the counter, Paula Sweeney, owner of Kelly's gas station, observed Sarah's every move with steely scrutiny. Her neatly pinned-up hair and stern eyes missed nothing. The secure phone in Sarah's hand and her purposeful stride exuded authority that made Paula's brow furrow. Stranger, odd clothes, odd behavior, Paula muttered, instinctively picking up the old landline. Without hesitation, she dialed the Mosswood Police Department. Mosswood Police, how can we help? Came a measured male voice. This is Paula at Kelly's gas station. There's a woman out here acting suspiciously. You should come check it out, she warned. Across town, officers John Miller and Dave Roberts exchanged glances. Any disturbance in Mosswood, a small, quiet town, was a major event. They nodded, grabbed their car keys, and sped off, red and blue lights spinning under the blazing sun. Sarah stood by her SUV, engrossed in her call, unaware that the storm of misunderstanding was closing in. She didn't notice Paula's watchful eyes, nor could she know that everything would be turned upside down within minutes. In the stillness of the gas station, the distant wail of sirens shattered the calm, heralding an impending crisis. The sirens grew louder as two police cars stopped before the station. Sarah looked up, surprise flashing in her eyes. The officers stepped out, their caution unmistakable. Officer John Miller, a tall man with a crew cut, signaled for her to stay put. Beside him, the younger, eager officer Dave Roberts moved in. ID, ma'am, John demanded coolly. Sarah replied evenly. I am Brigadier General Sarah Williams, U.S. Army. I am on official duty. She slowly withdrew her leather wallet and presented her military credentials and orders. Dave glanced at the papers dismissively and smirked. A brigadier general? You think you can fool us that easily? Sarah stayed calm, her gaze unwavering. You may verify the information. I'm placing an emergency call to the Pentagon. John exchanged a look with Dave, then chose to ignore her explanation. Don't play games. Turn around, hands behind your back. Under the astonished stares of a few gathering locals, Sarah was handcuffed and led toward the squad car. Humiliation washed over her, but she offered no resistance. Murmurs rippled through the station. Some bystanders recorded the scene on their phones. Sarah inhaled deeply, steadying herself. She knew the truth would emerge, but for now, in this small town, she was merely a suspect, not the honored officer she truly was. At the Pentagon, tension spiked when Brigadier General Sarah Williams's secure line died. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Grant, overseeing classified communications, immediately sensed something was wrong. He ordered a trace, eyes fixed on the monitor. Signal lost at Mosswood, Louisiana, reported a technician, voice edged with concern. Michael's brow knitted. She never loses connection. She's always precise, he said resolutely. Less than 5 minutes later, satellite data pinpointed Sarah's last location, an isolated gas station in a tiny town. Michael turned to his aide, determination in his eyes. Contact Barksdale Base now. I want security teams there in 15 minutes. In the control room, screens displayed maps and live communication links. Michael stared at the blinking indicators, unease creeping in. Sarah, what's happening? He murmured. Distant. He knew Sarah's character, unyielding. Strong, not easily intimidated. A lost signal meant serious trouble. He vowed to ensure his comrade would not suffer injustice. The gas station's red and blue lights illuminated the weathered pumps. Sarah stood calmly as two officers approached, their demeanor arrogant and impatient. One, Lieutenant Parker, tall with a cold expression, spoke first. Your ID and vehicle registration. Now, Sarah slowly pulled out her wallet, her hand unshaken. I am Brigadier General Sarah Williams, en route to Barksdale on official orders, she said in a calm yet authoritative tone. She presented her military ID and special clearance papers, her gaze unwavering. Parker skimmed the badge, then sneered. A brigadier general? Here? Dressed like that? You think we'd fall for this? Without waiting for her answer, he tossed the badge onto the hood, where it slid off and fell to the ground. Sarah tightened her fist briefly but remained composed. If you contact the Pentagon, they will confirm my identity, she offered evenly. But Parker didn't care. He exchanged a look with his partner, then stepped forward and handcuffed her without hesitation. Words don't prove anything, only actions do, he declared defiantly. Sarah was led away, yet the fire of resolve still burned brightly in her eyes. She knew the truth would soon emerge, and they would pay for what they had done. News of the arrest spread quickly across Mosswood and far beyond. Videos shot by bystanders appeared online, garnering millions of views within hours. The image of a woman in handcuffs, her eyes resolute yet full of indignation, standing amid flashing police lights enraged the public. At the Pentagon, Lieutenant Colonel David Harper sat frozen before his monitor, his face grim as he watched the live feed. Brigadier General Sarah Williams, arrested? In Mosswood? He whispered in disbelief. An emergency summons went out at once. Soon, calls from senior officials poured in, demanding verification. Tension surged in Mosswood. Witnesses gathered outside the gas station, their faces full of anger and outrage. They knew Sarah was no troublemaker or threat, she was a soldier, serving her country with unwavering loyalty and honor. Parker and his partner began to feel the pressure. The crowd's scornful stares and growing murmurs weighed on them. Yet they did not realize the actual storm was brewing, not in Mosswood, but in the corridors of power in Washington. Sarah Williams was more than a name, she symbolized justice. And justice never stays silent. Only hours after the incident went viral, the Mosswood mayor's office phone rang off the hook. Reporters, human rights activists, and even Pentagon representatives demanded explanations. The injustice was playing out in real time, impossible to ignore. On national news, images of Brigadier General Sarah Williams in handcuffs, her eyes steadfast, her spirit unbowed, dominated the headlines. Citizens nationwide voiced outrage at the brutal, thoughtless actions of the local police. The hashtag Justice for Sarah trended within hours, accompanied by millions of calls for redress. In Mosswood, Parker and Officer Delaney felt the heat. Their initial arrogance melted into fear as angry locals glared and whispered whenever they appeared, an invisible sentence looming over them. Soon after, a convoy of sleek black vehicles rolled into Mosswood. Pentagon representatives and high-ranking officials stepped out, their faces cold and resolute. Sarah was released from the local jail under heavy guard. She emerged with her head held high, greeted by thunderous applause from the crowd. Justice had begun to speak, and this time, it would not be forgotten.